Benny, we've of course seen over the last couple of weeks the demonstrations against police brutality, outpourings in communities big and small. Is there a problem with the police, Benny?
Well, what is happening now is that uh, the imperfections of police departments are becoming much more visible. The things that officers do wrong is now being captured very much in real time sometimes. So anything that happens that is not really up to the standards of the community is now right there in front of us so quickly that people are getting a chance to react to the imperfections. But we've had issues in law enforcement, as you may be aware of. And one of the things that I teach is that the legacy of law enforcement, unfortunately, throughout this country is one of corruption and abuse. The corruption is coming to light more so now than in the past, but it's not as prevalent as people think it is or the way it looks. But you take a police department the size of Detroit's when I was there, it was uh, about 4,600 people. If 10% of those officers were corrupt, it would look like the entire department was going crazy. That would be about 450 cops. That just was not the case. I had about 1 or 2% who were giving me the majority of my problems at that time. But overwhelmingly, the officers are doing an exceptional job. It's just that when it's law enforcement, because of the critical nature of what we do, the results are amplified.
How do you find those bad cops and get rid of them, deal with them before problems occur?
Recruiting, hiring, training, retention. We
Mhm.
need to work on what people we are forced to retain. Oftentimes, folks that we have tried to fire, we are not able to get rid of them because of the strong union contracts that exist. I've had even in disciplinary issues. I remember finding a guy who killed a kid, a 12-year-old, and he was given his job back in arbitration, and
Mhm.
there was nothing I could do about that.
You have now more African American police officers, more African Americans in charge of police department. You have things gotten better over that period or not?
Oh, absolutely. It's gotten better in those agencies that reflect the community. One of the reasons I believe that Detroit had the protests, but we did not have the violence and disruption in our community is because for about 47 years, we've been working on creating a relationship with the community, and people have relatives, mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, uncles and aunts, nieces and nephews, friends, church members, people they've gone to school with that are in the community that they know, and they recognize that all police officers aren't bad, but they know that there's some that are. But
Mhm.
majority of the ones they know are people who love the community, love what they do. So Detroit has had a completely different experience during these turbulent times. Also, the fact that I think many of us still remember 67. We've never
Right.
recovered from the riots of 67. And I don't think Detroiters have an appetite to tear their community up once again because we know how long it takes to recover from that.
Sheriff, is there something fundamentally wrong with the way we police?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we have to have standards for recruiting, hiring, training, and retention that should be national. One of the things that I'm very strong on is residency. I believe that a community should be able to require police officers who are policing their community to live in that community. And I think that if you live in a community, you're going to be much more sensitive to the people who live there because they're your neighbors. They go to school with your children. They play with your children. You may attend the same schools or churches or shop in the same places. And I think that that's one of the things that we really need to look at. There are just some things that should be consistent throughout all police departments at a bare minimum.